Hey guys, it's Chris from One Strong Man. Today I get to have a conversation with somebody that, well, if you haven't checked some of our other videos out, go and take a look. You know, there was a story about weeding your garden, and that's a true thing. And I'm not going to spoil it for you if you haven't. If you haven't watched that, you should. I think that it's important for everyone. But today is similar, right? I get to have a conversation with someone who I care about, that I feel has been doing some disrespectful things. And that's hard. It's hard because I care, right? And I wouldn't feel it in here if I didn't care. In fact, if I didn't care about you, I'd just punch you in the nose. And I would tell you what you did was stupid, foolish, right? But because I care, because there's heart involved, and not just with myself, but with my direct family, it's got to be timed, right? Now, the internet has made social media, rather, not just the internet, not like shopping, but the fact that we can do or we can say anything about anyone at any time to all of our friends has made fools of most of us, right? And that's what today's about. And maybe you can learn something from this, right? I mean, I hope that you're not making choices like this. But if you are, this program is about growth, right? About growth as people, to be someone else looks to for guidance. And if you're making choices this way or decisions like this, then maybe it's your chance to have some self-recognition and make better than what you're doing. So maybe, this happens all the time, right? You're on the Twitter, you're on Facebook, you're on whatever, and you decide you're going to make a comment about another person. And I get it, right? Those platforms, one of my best friends, man, he told me that Facebook and Twitter and all that is not designed to have a conversation, right? It's not designed to convince someone else about any point of view. They're not designed to have any substance, really. In fact, you could write every comment in caps on Twitter, and they would make the same sense, right? And if you didn't know, if you're 50 and ignorant or something, all caps means you're yelling it or saying it loudly or sternly, right? So when someone types you in all caps, it's, yeah, we get it, right? But today's comment is not just about being a jerk online. It's not just about saying things that are rude or hurtful or mean to others. It's about saying things about others to different groups. Let that one sink in. Because we all have friends in different circles, right? I mean, I've got tons of friends in different circles that aren't part of our One Strong Man group, but there's a reason they're in different circles. I have some crossover buddies who are in other teams, right? Who I've invited here, and there's a couple more that just haven't found their way, but they will, and they're welcome. But there are some that don't belong here, and it's because, for whatever reason, they were never told by someone, likely a parent or grandparent or something. They were never told that what they do or say come back to them, and just wrong. So we've all been there, man. I've been there. Locker room talk, or You're just teasing somebody, maybe. And then, I don't know if it's happened in each one of your lives, but it has in mine where, I was teasing a guy and it came back that he found out about it. And it, luckily for me, it wasn't like I was being a complete jerk, right? I was just teasing. And I had the opportunity to go and say, hey man, I apologize, dude. I said something stupid. And we're good friends now. We really are. And sometimes we find that we just do that, right? I mean, that was back in high school, right? And so in high school, we were still texting like this, right? Like little flip phones and stuff. Maybe it was a slide phone, I don't remember. But it wasn't like today, right? You text an individual person. You weren't messaging a whole group. There wasn't a whole life of talk that never happened face to face, right? And I believe that when you do talk face to face, you're more sincere. You're maybe more delicate on what you might say. You're thoughtful because you can see the reaction of someone if you're hurting them, right? I ask for you today. There's rarely a time where you're talking to a group of people on one of these platforms where it's a good choice to talk about someone who's not in that group. Think about that, right? I mean, unless you're in like a award ceremony group and you can't talk about that person because you're gonna give them an award or something and you're figuring out how. I mean, that's the thing, right? But if you're in one group and you got 12 or 20 friends or whatever in this feed, and you're talking about someone else who's not in there, and it's coming up, and you're sharing a story or whatever, that is wrong. It's wrong. Because likely, you're sharing information that's no one else's business. And it's hurtful. As we age and as we grow, we realize that those relationships are the only things that matter. Money doesn't matter. What you have doesn't matter. Opportunities kind of matter, but they don't if you ruin them with relationships, right? Have the respect, have the strength. If you have to say something to someone, go and say it to them. Go and say it to them. If you have to go tell somebody that you don't like them, tell them you don't like them. If you have to say to somebody, hey, you're being too clingy, go tell somebody you're too clingy, right? But you don't get to talk behind their back. It's juvenile. I get to have that conversation with someone. And some of us learned this in their 30s, right? Some of us learned it in middle school or high school. Some never learn it. And I hope that as you guys come across these things that you call them out to, right? That's part of what life is and growing. If you want to be someone that others look up to, then you have to be someone who swings a hammer, right? You got to be the person that says no means no and stop. And if my family has brought you in, it's because we care about you, right? That's the truth. And we care enough to tell you when we think you made an error. Anyways, guys, I hope that if this is something that you found yourself doing, that you just stop, right? I hope that you just decide that the relationship that you have with someone is more important than the banter or the talk on these other programs, or having, it doesn't matter, apps, whatever you want to call them, these other platforms. Because it's all about the relationships, right? I get to decide what hurts me. And a lot doesn't hurt me. Not surprised by much. But I will tell you, if something that you have done has been rude, it's been disrespectful, if something you've done has been antagonistic, or if something you have said has been hurtful or downright dishonest, you got to make the right choices. We're to help people to come along that way, right? Whether they're young or old. I know that I've had my talks. People have come to me and said, "Hey, you're being a bitch. Like, you're whiny." No matter what you got going on in your life, it takes another person you respect and love sometimes to come and help you recognize when you're doing something that you know you don't even want to be here or do. Have a great one, you guys. Talk to y'all soon.